Sabrina ka little singer Kofi na ye obidum bie adukumi de ebrel na so ne na monsamtwefo nhie mu bia ekosom NPP amanyoko no de egu akwanso a wo mudi yi ensem bia no efa koko ene entumu abosom ye de to so nkro eba ye no ye bekọ ne akofa eno ne senti little singer Kofi na the big agenda dwumadie no entumi maso enne na yenko NPP owura Richard Ahiagba wono eye National Communications Director Edema NPP wono na ekasa yentie nsem a wode eto dwa no wi a ye bebo ne tofa amwate de woka no asiye abena poko a ahwen ne eye midin.
It is therefore incorrect for anyone, or for the NDC, in this case, the former president who started the misinformation on his Twitter handle, it's incorrect for him to compute the producer price of cocoa using the spot price. There are two different numbers. Spot price is the prevailing price. The price of cocoa now. The producer price that we just announced was based on an achieved FOB price in the market much earlier. So that's not a price that is the 2,600 is not a price we had agreed to sell the cocoa. So even if the price is today at 3,600, that's not how much we're going to sell it, because we had already agreed. We already signed a contract. All of us here can understand that simple concept, right? So if you go to Cantonment and you go to rent a house there, or go anywhere, go to rent a house. You rent the house today, and tomorrow suddenly the same house, another person comes to rent it 2 months after you have come. The fact that you rented it yesterday, don't force the hand of the owner. Want to rent it to you at the same price. The same room, if you stay in 2 years or 1 year, at the end of it, increasing. Nothing is done to it. But that is the prevailing price. The price you paid yesterday is not the same price. And I'm not sure any one of you here would go and pay a rent 100 cedis or 500 cedis a month. And then tomorrow the person will come and say, oh, now next door they are charging 550. So bring the difference of 50. I don't know how many of you will agree to do. That's what the NDC is inviting us to think about. But the interesting thing I want to underline for you, even with the 3,600 spot price that they are talking, that amount includes insurance and freight. It's not FOB price. It's not farm gate price. So in other words, that 3,600 is not the price, if you want to sell now, that you sell, because you have to take away the cost of insurance and freight from that amount. So unless you are able to determine how much freight insurance would be, which doesn't come to the farmer, right? The farmer sells at farm gate. So if the spot price now is 3,600, which NDC is advertising, which is completely erroneous, includes the CIF cost. It's not FOB. That difference we need to understand. There are two ways of selling it. You either take it to the market and sell, and you again, you understand that concept, right? If you have your product and you are selling it here, and somebody is buying it from you here, most of us do that when we travel and we're coming back to Accra, we buy stuff there, we expect it to be cheaper in Kintampo or Techiman than it is in Accra. So you go to Techiman to go and buy cassava. That cassava, if it's in Accra, you buy the same cost. So the CIF cost that the NDC is advertising at 3,600, which is the spot price they are talking about, includes what? Exactly handling charges and anything else that you would do before the commodity gets to the market. But the 2,600 is absolute price paid at the farm gate. I'm sure we understand that concept. That's why when we travel, we buy these things, because we know it will be cheaper. Those transportation costs will not be added. Any insurance that is taken to bring the commodity to the market will not be charged to us as well. So again, let's understand the misinformation the NDC is putting out there. When NDC left power in 2016, world price was 2,950 per metric ton of cocoa. The price then, when we came in 2017, sharply declined to $2,050. And also between that period, about 2 years continuously, it stayed down and then increased marginally, 2,350 2 years later. Yet, this government, I'm sure most of you are aware of this, yet this government paid cocoa farmers the same amount the NDC was paying when they were selling a metric ton at 2,950. Please, do you get this? I'm talking 2017, 2018, 2019. Cocoa price dropped from the 2,950 that the NDC was selling it. And when they were paying people, our farmers, at $1,800. When we came in 2017, the price of cocoa per metric ton dropped from the 2,950, yet we paid farmers the same rate that the NDC paid them at $950. Government didn't bring the price down. In fact, you probably have heard about this because there was call. Then we had maintained the producer price for our farmers because of what? Care. So when they congregate in a Ahafo and tickling themselves, the facts don't bear their comedy out. The government, therefore, spent a fortune, as I was just explaining to you, on the losses incurred between the cost of market price for the metric ton that we were selling it and how much we're paying our farmers. Government accumulated significant cost. And they will tell you today that our cocoa board has incurred loss. Ask yourself, when government was subsidizing and farmers maintain their living standards, at what cost are we? Investment in our people. Imagine that's how come the NDC don't understand, because why? When COVID came and we're spending money on people, we're prioritizing life ahead of anything. They are around screaming, Bank of Ghana this, person that. But I want to ask you, what would you do if a child is sick? What would you do if you have money and there is emergency? You prioritize and say, oh, I want to save this money by all means. And so therefore, I'll just drink water instead of buy medicine, because you didn't plan you're going to be sick. So therefore, plan to go to hospital and spend any money. But somehow, the NDC is telling us that it doesn't matter what is happening to you because you want to keep some money in your pocket or some money in your bank and save it away. When catastrophe hits, don't spend that money. Who are you saving the money for when you die? That's a difference between us and them. Somehow they try to trick us to believe that they are the socialists who care about people. It only tells you why socialism is failing, massive scale around the world, because it is not real. It's sentimental. It's not real. How can you tell me that in COVID situation, we're spending money to preserve people's lives? And the NDC doesn't understand. So let me briefly take some time to respond to some, particularly the NDC's misinformation about the producer price by making some specific points. Claims by the opposition National Democratic Congress that government has shortchanged cocoa farmers. By now, you understand what I'm going to say. Cocoa farmers, that government has shortchanged cocoa farmers is false and cannot be supported by actual events on the ground. So you have agreed, you understand, and you will make the case. Ask them, let them explain. How is it that they think that government is shortchanging farmers with the explanations that we have given you? As well as the former president, in his post, makes this very erroneous comment. But as well, you all know by now that the amount that President Akufo-Addo announced on Saturday has been greeted by farmers across this country. Joy and excitement. Realize 50 years in this, nobody has paid them this much. Suddenly the NDC thinks that pay them when they couldn't pay them more. They have never paid them more. They think that we should. Indeed, all stakeholders, and I'm sure you in the media know this, all stakeholders, including farmers and the Ghana Civil Society cocoa platform, have all expressed joy and satisfaction at the new price and commended government staying true its word. Therefore, any claim by anybody that this government has shortchanged farmers will be doing, or that person making that claim on the basis of political interest and out of political expedient machination. Now, there was also a point in NDC where they were talking about decline in yields. At one point, I was confused, saying that, okay, well, because it was advertised that there was going to be shortage, it means that shortage should be advantage and therefore get higher prices. That's the logic they're advancing. But the question is, as a country, are we interested less or produce? We want to produce. And to date, the NDC never produced cocoa more than the NPP under President Kufuor. And in fact, in 2009, I think they used somewhere around 1 million metric tons. That was because of intervention they inherited from the NPP. Now, there's a reason why production yields have gone down. When we took, I'm going to talk briefly about it. There is what you know to be cocoa swollen shoot viral disease, which is, I will simply be called CSSV. This viral infection has affected cocoa production, and this started under the NDC. The NDC, under them, called for seizure that treatment cocoa plant with this viral infection. As a result of cocoa production went down from 340,000 somewhere 100. This government came into office and quickly moved with initiatives to restore the treatment of cocoa plants with, from this viral infection. That when we started generating and growing our cocoa stock, and then the yields started going up. Today, the management of Cocoa Board, through the support of government led by President Adom TV, has been able to restore most of these trees or these farms that have been affected by the CSSVD, which were plagued by this disease. The intervention of the Akufo-Addo NPP government has been able to restore most of these farms through the cocoa rehabilitation program. These farms are expected to yield positive results in the next few years and help increase Ghana's production capacity. Other similar interventions are currently being implemented for benefit of cocoa farmers in this country. So in addressing the loss, we see where it happened from. The NDC's inaction deal with a viral infection that was plaguing our cocoa farm resulted in this. Somehow, congregate and tell us that somehow it's better Ghana to produce less. So therefore, by producing less, they are more advantageous. That is not how we want to want more. And when this government took over, and I'll tell you briefly about how we are addressing challenge with the CSSVD, how that is translating into. It is also not an accurate claim by the NDC that Cocoa Board started incurring losses just when NPP. Minutes ago, I told you about the intervention we made over 3 years. Make sure that we farmers, even when market price dropped from the $2,950 metric tons to somewhere about 2,050 and later to 2,000. In 2016, before the NPP took over power, Cocoa Board under the regime of the NDC led by former President Mahama caused significant losses, ranging from about $19 billion or more. It is worth noting that under this NPP administration, Ghana has recorded its highest ever production. And I just told you our investment in treating this viral infection, which the NDC failed to attend to. We have produced the highest in record, about 1,045,500 metric tons in the 2021 crop season. It is therefore not accurate when the NDC claims that the NPP has a poor track record in cocoa production. Numbers I told you earlier don't lie. And I reiterated this point to you earlier on. The fact in 2009, when the NDC recorded somewhere around 1 million metric tons, it was as a result of the interventions that were put in place by former President Heritage. No other cocoa producing country support farmers' interventions like the New Patriotic Party, as we have done since we came to office. Interventions such as the Cocoa Rehabilitation Program, mass pruning, hand pollination, mass spraying, fertilizer subsidy program, and free seedlings that we provide to our. And if you were listening to the NDC earlier, they talked about today that fertilizer is about 500 cities. Mentioned that they used to subsidize fertilizer. We don't do that. That is obvious. Yes, fertilizer is 500 cities. Farmers pay, according to records, farmers pay as low as 86 Ghana cedis. Yes, the NDC needs to check their. Now, I'm sure most of you know about the living income differential. Mention a few things about premiums that were paid and therefore needed to be ordered to farmers, and we are not. That's also not. Records suggest that even this year and last year, premiums were not paid. So the NDC was making some claims about some $193 paid as premium per metric ton. That's not true. Our cocoa, if you know, there are grades. The premium grade and the less premium sold discount 20%. So even this price that is advertised, not all the cocoa, 1,600, not all grades that are sold at. But let me tell you about the living income differential. In 2019, by the way, living income differential, which is additional income to our farmers that was earned under our administration, additional $400 that is paid on every metric ton of cocoa, so that goes directly to farmers. Brainchild, His Excellency. The NDC, who has congregated in Ahafo this afternoon, a church house, seeking belittle, rather unprecedented achievement. Never saw the wisdom in negotiating. The creativity to do that for. We were here for 8 years, wasted everybody's time. We came. That $400, which equals about 4,600 Ghana cedis, was money that was left on the table this government came under the leadership of His Excellency, went and found $400. This is governance. This is care. This is thinking about your people, not propaganda. We found money for our people. The brainchild of His Excellency, the President Adom TV. So in 2019, I'll tell you about it. 2019-2020 crop year, government of Ghana and the Ivory Coast agreed on a new pricing mechanism to safeguard the welfare of farmers. The aim is to secure sustainable cocoa price for farmers and create a buffer against shocks associated with unstable world market prices. This historic collaboration led the adoption of the living income differential mechanism, which comes with an extra amount of $400 every ton. For every 16 bags of cocoa, you get $400, 4,600. In other words, if you do the computation, when cocoa was selling before this increase, a bag was selling at 4,600, how many 3 bags of cocoa have you just earned for us? Means that every 16 bags of cocoa that our farmers sell and produce and sell, they, by design, out of this $400, earn somewhere about 6 more bags. That is 6 more bags that he didn't. But they earned it because it's a government that thought about them, government that prioritized them, made sure that they had that benefit. The aim, as I indicated to you, was to help cushion farmers from the shocks associated with the market. As a result, the living income differential has since narrowed the unfair wealth distribution in the cocoa value chain in these 2 countries. LID, as I indicate to you, was the President of our Republic, Adom TV's initiative. Pruning, again, addressing the challenges of production. The initiative, the intervention we brought to help cocoa trees or plants has helped driving productivity. Pruning in cocoa farming is a crucial environmentally friendly farming activity conducted before their flowering season. In 2018-2019, Cocoa Board promoted pruning, its mass pruning program. The program encompassed forming teams to carry out a pruning exercise in cocoa farms and the distribution of 100,000 motorized dual-purpose pruner or slashers to farm cooperatives to make pruning more efficient and less labor-intensive. Pruning offers benefits such as improved aeration, enhanced flower production, optimized nutrient distribution, and reduced pest and disease risks. Cocoa Rehabilitation Program, I mentioned that earlier on. The Cocoa Rehabilitation Program is an intervention that was brought to help increase cocoa yields. The program is a comprehensive effort in Ghana to revive cocoa farms affected by disease and age-related decline. Tackles issues like cocoa swollen shoots, virus, declining yields, and unproductive farms. The process involves identifying diseased farms, cutting down the affected trees, replanting with disease-resistant cocoa varieties, compensating affected farmers, and promoting good agricultural practices. Initially launched in the Western North region in 2017, the program was expanded nationwide. Now we have achieved a nationwide implementation of this rehabilitation program, which is going to be beneficial, and we expect that would continue to increase our yield. Its benefits is to increase farm productivity, higher cocoa production, disease prevention, and faster income restoration for farmers. Again, thinking about our farmers, interventions that would help improve a lot. Over 30,000 Ghanaians have been employed in cocoa growing community with who are employed in rehabilitating and restoring these affected cocoa farms. The companies handling the rehabilitation intends to add more workers. The final intervention I want to talk to you about is hand pollination. Most of you know about that. The hand pollination in Ghana's cocoa industry involves the deliberate fertilization of flowers of cocoa trees, trained individuals, boosting the pods production per tree. Mimics the natural pollination of cocoa, but addresses its limitation to enhance yields. Cocoa Board initiated this intervention in 2017, and by systematically training individuals to become hand pollinators for farmers. The main benefit of this intervention is to attain higher cocoa yields from somewhere 20 pods per tree, 100, 300 pods per tree, in some cases more. Increasing farmer income overall in their production process. This improved agricultural technique will help to ensure a brighter future for our cocoa farmers. And in this changing economic situation, I think that our farmers appreciate this enhanced technique, sure that they are in. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I come to just draw your attention to here today, because NDC decided misinform themselves, either intentionally, some form of mischief, say that price at which we are selling cocoa, which is a 50-year high in our sub-region, the NDC decided that it would cut into the joy of farmers by intentionally just creating some doubt. And somehow people, and I tell you, if any of you watched that, everybody they gathered there, just NDC people. So close to them, I saw people in there, saw NDC. Now, when we talked about numbers, as I indicated earlier, it's just straight numbers. The price at which we're selling cocoa, NDC, just simply, and what they did there, that's why we are here, we probably would engage this conversation again tomorrow, was to decide to say that the price that we announced somehow is different. And I think that this is very pathetic. They were using an exchange rate of 11 cedis and 3 cents. Say that we had lied. So between all of us here, if you use 11 cedis, 3 pesos to compute the number, and then I use 11.50 pesos, obviously different number. And what we did, we advertised. And it is based on 11.5 exchange rate. Is it a thing that Ghanaians won't find out? And so why would they just congregate in a half? Only just to go and say that 11.03. Why don't you just ask? Because the numbers, we put the numbers out. If you saw the president's statement, it's out. And then when the CEO issued his press release yesterday, the same so we use 11.50. And if you do the same computation, calculate, you can do that. If you divide 20,943 by 11.50, get the number. This is not confusing. It's not scientific. So if that's what we have done, it doesn't take you to go to a Halfo. Go and find out. We're here. But then somehow the NDC went there, put that in people. And the honorable member of parliament was sweating when we were saying it. You know, creating the atmosphere that, oh, where are the computer people? Let them put it up. It is different. Something we stated what rate we. So we are here because of that deliberate misconduct. And we're here because the NDC is either intentionally, because they have been in government before, so I won't say they don't. They know. But intentionally, for mischief purposes, confusing spot price with forward price that we have achieved. They are not the same. And I illustrate that for you. You renting a house in the same house today, and tomorrow another person come and rents for them 50 pesos or 50 cedis more. Simply that. And so this is what the drama the NDC want to create in Ahafo. We want to plead with you that the facts are clear. Those who care about Ghanaian farmers is clear. This government, this NPP government, led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo, thought about Ghanaians and generated that additional income for them, free $400 living income differential. This government, for many years, the dream in the Cocoa Board Act, create a pension scheme for cocoa farmers. This government is realizing that dream. That's the government that thinks about Ghanaians. This government that introduced cocoa rehabilitation program to ensure that cocoa trees that yielded 10, 20 pods per tree can now yield 100, 300 and more. That's the government that thinks about people. So we are not just getting Ghanaians better market prices, but we are investing in ways that their yields will go up. That's a comprehensive approach. That is not gather in Ahafo, in a church room, and do propaganda. Irony of it, in a church room, misinforming people. I will plead with you, ladies and gentlemen, to help us clear this intentional misrepresentation. And we are not going to let up. I told you, inviting you again tomorrow at a forum to discuss this issue. We are not going to let up on this matter. Enough of this. We are going to, in the media, let's engage. It is not right when the NDC come to you, let them talk and go. If they say their alternative, what is their alternative ideas? Back in 2016, by this time, you knew what the NPP was. We told you were going to do free SHS. Told you long before we come in. We're giving you those options. You ask NDC today, what is the alternative? Allow them to bastardize the government, criticize us, but when they finish, remember to ask them, so then what? Ask them. They told us the last time that, oh, COVID and whatnot, and COVID didn't create a problem. Okay, well, if COVID didn't create a problem, how are you going to? The situation we are in, where in the world, there are challenges everywhere. How is NDC going to solve it? Have you heard about any solution? Please help us. Because in the end, NDC, and this is what they did in 2008, NPP is corrupt, One, 2008, former government, 2009. From that time till now, how many NPP people did NDC put in jail after they have shouted corruption on all the streets of this country? They have started doing that and they are doing it again. They're letting them do it. But you see, outcome will affect all of us. I can commit to you that any day, if you do objective assessment of the two governments, you will see we are not perfect. But a government that sets itself out, try and bring solution to Ghana's problems, is the new patriotism. I'm a Ghanaian, and if I was an NPP, fall in love with NPP because of that effort. I don't know what the NDC has done. When they tell you, say they build Terminal 3, they build whatnot. How do you create the money? How do you generate the wealth? I don't see any infrastructure where the NDC has created an opportunity for this country, generate that revenue, be able to do. Look at the numbers, always downward. So I invite you this afternoon and going forward to let us engage there in a constructive conversation where they provide solution. They can criticize us for free SHS. What is your solution? They can criticize us for one district, one factory, and say that we haven't done enough. Ask them what's their solution to create job and harness the God-given resources of this country. What is their solution to ensure there's a village in my region that is able to produce ethanol with cassava? That is a village in a Kumfi that is able to leverage pineapple, produce a Kumfi. What is their solution? If NDC were in power, you wouldn't have a Kumfi. So if we have done nothing at all, look at that. That's the question. They were here 8 years. What have they left? tell you about some shoe factory. Not an investment that is valid, an investment that is yielding anything. So please, we're Ghanaians, sometimes let's get passionate about these things. Let's interrogate the issue. Talking is cheap. The NDC has specialized in talking. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We must focus. As a people, we're in a critical moment, and we must not allow the NDC, as they have done this afternoon, use talk, deceive us, because there are consequences for elections. I thank you very much for listening. I think that I'll just take about 5 minutes to talk briefly in everything that I have just said. NDC for press conference and as almost press engagement for half region. Amoko Shiemu or Pentecost, sorry them. I could intro Ghana for my Yakia or Sariji Ho. Am TV ni radio so my answer so ya wa cry TV. San tro ya NDC for Koka ye. I am somehow doing what I want to say because as some I can as a cocoa price, as a boy I ton cocoa. Want some bar. Papa President Anado Danko Kufado or Danedi Dano I say for 50 years Ghana ya do cocoa abesi nen. Yentia sa cocoa boni bida. Our Ghana. Now before I come ask some so na match ready and this for call ya moko kai. Almost say one. Boy, yeah, they buy a boy for Friday bar. West Africa hey nyina no. For the past 50 years, obi antua sa boni bi yakofa ba yetua cocoa for. Mo sorry sa ka say sa ebo na yetua omokra no. Nka say ebro sa. Because cocoa call adwemu na cocoa ne ton $3,600. Entino nka 1,308 Ghana cedis na dia ba ebisum esubimba dan. And this was on ka say do so chesa. Fere ensrade omombedi oma weso for 8 years. Omuntua sa skeribida senke tumi tua mane broso ana omantua. Abra na omo ton koko no, ton $2,950. Omantumi entua andru dia ye tua no. Enti omo ko gina ho ka say oh and the price ne de osoro tinka say tumi tua omo kura more than that. Ta nsem me inform me anyway, we ko tran ho omo. Ano kure wo mu ne se Ghana ye koko ihye ho ne se be ya benye sika etua piafo no mo do koko no a benye sika etua mo ntentem so ya ye frɛ bibi se ye ton ade no ansa o makọ akote aba enti ye kwa mansa dwa so na ye kɔ ya kwakọ negotiate price osimesi wo na obeto bia ye koko ye beto ama $1,000 Ghana and as $1,000 or so meto na natintim krata so e de ato a crew so when so ye ton cocoa. I was say obeto bi meto no be 2,000. Now ye kan nyina see ni ya ye average price. Na they call banks for so ye cocoa e boni o mama eska na ye friend syndicated loan na dey aba. The ba na ye kote cocoa no ba na ye de scanner mo ansa. Akwa. Enti sa 2,600 year abai modern bo ayetumi a leverage ayenya $1,600 e de cotton yeko abai en hye say emududo no a e de be ma e dokoko enti pay 63.5% de tiato was sa paso we no e be kan sikadada no ana enti kane no na e ton koko no metric tons 16 bags e ton no 12,800 Ghana cedis. But said Yabani say no. I say, Yanfa being counted a ton. Some metric tons na a ton 12,800. And then the boa bar, ye cotton 20,943. A kakitikitina 21,000. And the editia Ghana for. As I say, a byway, a pen fasudie ama ayofo. A pen fasudie ama Ghana for Ghana for be ye. As our price growing so a indication. Ama message. Se cocoa infaso mu say na cocoa bag baako eton 1,308 Ghana cedis dia na me wasase bia na say me wo akonya bia se me do cocoa betumi akọ do cocoa nka se bia me ni adwuma I said, me was a CD, Papa. And your incentive Cassia by the bar, Eddie Chia, at a bois, say Bia, or more, per se, call a cocoa, I said, Doco, go to me, Ako Swap. Anyway, and then this was say, oh, Tasika, we could and can say, Chamo. Now, said American. Say a year, SAS indication on air purchase are born near average in one. I had 2,600 na area banwa. And no chere Koko aye don neno. Di kan akwa ko di hu dwa ewie. Enti di aye don neno, ye di hu dwa embre bi atwemu. Enti SAS ka ya abai. Ene nkofo tintim krata so say ye koko ne so a ye be kwa ma mo $2,600. Eno na be mfaso di amagana fo. Aye ton koko no. 1 metric ton, 20,000. I had it is 200 million. And yes, and H3. And it's time for today, Abbey. And this is for one tier, almost say, oh, and then we'll call marketer, cocoa price, I could do 3,600. And you know, 3,600, okay, I say, yet, Emma, farmers, no, sir. But yes, I answer so any amount for. A call a palm say a cocoa in the bar, bet one mom. No more palm say, cocoa in the bar, bet 2,600. San yeno, or my end is for a wabemun. San, no yeno. Nana me the young fatum edicano say. So walk or rented down with Phoebe. Now walk or rented down in there. Now, a china, then run bacacho so. I will cry and run our buy. But to be our bar, and I may rent his side and Korea, Amano. A geno, 3,000. Uno a major 2,000 rano. Also so 4,000 the best also. But all betters as me as. Also, then aquapam. So we obey 2,000. No, what I send with a man. And this obey you be 3,000. And no, and you was. For Tesso Crown, I want to make a country and say, oh, what I didn't listen to me to media. Yes, I palm on any court. That is the spirit of contract. When you be quite palm, I say with this. And someone is a poker kind and throw. Yes, surprise the cost. Come on, an ankle for the way. Omo beto ekoko no entumi nkotum enti no ye beto no sabo no asabo no na ban ahwe se emudodo no a bema afo aye sika ebiso mada koko a ye nto no sabo ni bi wo Ghana ha ene West Africa ha nyina aye dokoko enti assess can be that aye 1,000 for one bag 1,308 aye 30 million it is scan. Now 3,600 year NDC forecast say and no na year price no and na year or more patre say yen fine no enfanye calculation ma farmers no sasika no before we realize sasika no say o hwe say insurance and as a car we dey no man be call market was abrochi wa kwakoton ka ho yen team free insurance a obeje afa ho say be ya ship ne ko na ekomuni a sign ade osika ma so wadi ya ode tu hai insurance awafa hu nti no ship no akomuni but sanje osika eyen hihye ya wo ho untumi mfa kokoo free ha mfa nko ho untia insurance untumi nso kokoo no emfa nkogu so wo de fa ship so akọ sa eka no ene is for anti mfi sa 3,600 ya omokai enti no by 2,600 ya ye kan teska no enka ho sa wote kokoo no fi wafuo na o de ba anase o beton de Ghana ha bebia no a sika no 3,600 no ko do abrochire ho a na abeje sika no na before we do abrochire no won say won sika won ton insurance sre NDC for Obama studio be cancel mu ye a nyina Ghana for Ghana nko so say NPP say NDC ade a yesre mo ne se mo ma yenka asem ma ni na ho we anya ade a se wo hu ade ni mu ase wo bisa ana se wate ase se de akodi on to say adan na ye turn the 2,600 adan no mo turn say the church mu a obeti ase se da metumi a church 3,600 no mo ka de dede afi na aba beti a car de fa ni man akọ market and this what free mu a oni ma hia beka dan kan no ansho ho say afi na ye beti ka at the area ma kuafo ne de timi bia free mu aya tika ekọ mbotum afi no aba ka say oji enti no e ka say NDC for ankasa nso no say enne ye koko say be ya akuafo a mo ye cocoa ho adwuma ebe nya mfaso isifo a momoden abana mo wo aban mu se mo be ye se cocoa no beso bebre se nipa be nya ho sika se eton ne tekukura na onya no dodo a sika ebe koso eni isifo anya hihye bi asa aban yi ba yi eye hihye ya aboa ama cocoa dua etumi so deda no etumi so be 20 bi no se no hihye ya de aba ama se cocoa dua ba 100 300 we ayade a edi sika eba akwa dina nye price na yenya ama omo anase bo a akosoro keke ene pati de ehihye ya ba eboa se be ya ombenya cocoa no ama na bro so se be ya omo sika nso so ebe koso before I made myself be wie na me ka be about living income differential eno no ye President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo iswade aye tre mpenifo se Ghana for edo cocoa nso so ye papa cocoa yi farmers omo mo humodin do ebre eyewe na omo abefa yakoye chocolate pa hu sika omo nya hu sika bebre ti ye ne omo nkokọ tenase pre Jonko Ivory Coast president transe we ye hihye se ye den sisan ye ba ye cocoa ni se cocoa ni ye papa Ghana ni Ivory Coast cocoa yasi ya cocoa ye produce nyina Ghana ni Ivory Coast 60%. Entino e cocoa no de be se ton na mo mayen the farmers no support bi abebo o de san hihye go kwan mu ama ye nya ho faso $400 and 16 bags bia o ye cocoa ya no nya 16 bags a onya $400 e be se 4,600 Ghana cedis $400 rose saba Ghana sika 4,600 entino so wado no nya 16 bag no first na na ye ton cocoa bag ba ko 800 ubenya bag be 6 ye free because of that $400 na ye de account sika no ni ye hihye ya president buy enti we no ene ye bisa say between omanpenia ani aban a etumi enya nsusuye akofa sa mfasudie $400 aye 4,600 Ghana cedis e dia bre ofo sa akwa ani aban a obaye wantumi anye sa ama koko na ono no akwakọ gina asore dem o hafu e ka kire se ya wotumi abọ no modern akonya sa $400 4,600 mfasudie abre Ghana kuafo ono ana wa hamwa ekwa ono ana wa hamwa koko kuafo ani yesre se asem we mu amote a eto asomu ana ata asem no nto aso na oman panini aban a ede nhihye ya ba na NDC abreso koko yade aba ya omantumi anso ano eja ho ama ta dudu ana koko dudu ana ya etumi produce sa abre no every 346,000 etiba from to somewhere about 140,000 metric tons sa aban dada no ana opese o kire ye say tumum adwene Ghana for nuano besre te yede yebeye ahweye na NDC for amedada ye Ghana ha sema mokoka ye moko ha omani na ka asem keke o penia o ye member of parliament ebe tira ho ke kan semi eswatinity nyina tani nyina na o ye o TV so no wan hweye na utie no a because o ka asem no kure tro koko price no difference wom e ton ade no price ayenya no da sonko ene nkrofo akoye agreement eno no the same thing a otewa na no woka exchange rate I calculate ade no so well hunu omokofa exchange rate I mean hunu in pro and this for yeah calculation you use rate omako use rate for the yeah no yeah correct also that better ko ebu this say otafo ata asa o chia ne very well and I this boko here omu sia yasa omu hunu sa enti mesre se be ya Ghana ye be koso akoye ni mesre se mo amoye centrofo amoye radio station am ho de bia no bre ye ba be discussion mo hwe na mo ne NDC fo ane yen yin enka no kore ba na ye ka say NDC anye ne ye ntina me di mi nkombo yi kire mu na mama mo example if ma breso de omo ye na yen so ye omo ma asem no mu nda omo bi say omo question because enko wie kire no ye Ghana ho aduro ne ye nyina ye the role amomo play no ebe boa ama NDC aka no kore ama NPP aka no kore se be ya mu no kore no Ghana fo betie a omo hwe TV a omo tie radio ehu se we na aka no kore we asem o kai on fa ma Ghana men koje argument because there was is here no NDC fo and say ye be dede say ya na ekoto aba say abanyo na afede omo ana omo ntumi nya hwe kora no mo say abanyo oni pasu mu a na ekoto aba mo awini a mo ntumi nya hwe mamu fato ho 2008 a mo ye abanyo aya yekoto aba kiti bi omo ye no muhu de bae akọ wie chiri enti mesre se mo moyen na nkomodie no amu na ho se be ya Ghana for ebe make the right choice in 2020 me say ye ne sa na 2024 ye kwa abato no NPP edin kunim because NPP e dwene Ghana ho NPP Ghana kan ko afi the Ashase Fourth Republic e beduru ne ban ya etumi aye ne ho aye adwuma a ne dwuma eda ho a wo hwa wo behunu abehu se nhihye a ye de aba no e wo mfaso ma Ghana no a NPP ban asre se we are the sa no a Ghana for be make the right choice for December 2020 yeah NPP inkunima Ghana akoso akode damo nyina ase.
Thank you very much, Director of Communications. Seminar na your boss akano. NDC ni bibi papa bi ade magana atro ne akohwie. Wa na you asese de okan no. Ne ompe wasem no sua wasa no aye den wachi me nepa. Na wachi anepa. At this point, you have questions. English no question bi any on. Ade ni mu da ho. E mu da ho na question ni wane na chese no ano no. Sere mo amaka na say mo betena se ahobrase mu na matwen me. Beba mo nchense.
Biaya ye koye eye NPP headquarters openya wote se wokasa no eye Richard Ahiagba wono eye penya wo hwe amanebone krato semso edima NPP amanyuko no ni nyina no eye de ekoso ewo dade so aba NDC amanyuko na kogina mu akire mu obeka se busum ya ne da na etoso enkron na omampani akufu ado ne so afo no hweku adwuma semso eni mpanyefo ba no kokko adwuma di omo ewo mu bie no edi tuja ese entumu aba ama kasebo ahodo akoso nyina no kokko akuafo ni bidimu chese no kra beboa ama dodo na nankom do kokko na wo eti ehatawi a wo edi etra border so kwa aman a ne bo wo sokoto no nyina ebejai eye smuggling no na eno na NDC amanyoko no echese wo hwe sedia enioma etie ne sedia oye oman no eto kokko no mo so ense kano a naka entumu ebeba na enye sa 1000